If you live in East Africa and you're feeling really, really happy, then perhaps you are a Ugandan. The United Nations has ranked Ugandans as the happiest people in East Africa based on factors such as life expectancy and social support. But not everyone is convinced of the result. In Uganda's capital, Kampala, it's party time all night long on most weekend nights.
The happiest country ever and ever. I've gone to Afghanistan, I've gone to Iraq. Home is the best, yeah. Uganda, everyone can happen in it.
The United Nations study says Uganda is a happy place, in fact happier than neighboring Kenya, and even happier than another neighbor Rwanda, which was ranked sadder than Afghanistan. But not everyone in Uganda agrees with the assessment. Mental health experts say partying may be a way to momentarily escape from reality.
Even when you find them out clubbing, they're not really happy. They go out to use that as an escape, like to break out from the stresses of life. They feel like if they go to bed, they'll be so lonely, they'll be so miserable. So they want to go where there is noise, where no one is talking to them, but at least something is distracting their attention. That's when you find people drinking out in bars. It's only because they're happy.
Statistics from the mental health unit at Uganda's referral hospital indicate that up to 25% of patients have considered suicide. Among the survivors is Danson Kamukama. He's suffering depression and has attempted suicide 4 times.
The truth of the matter is that with the 20 years war almost, actually Uganda had been at war for a long time. Part of my problems are because my father he died in the bush, the NRA. So I grew up without a father to take care of me and the father I love. So you see that national experience of having had wars around. You cannot tell me that you factor in a place like Karamoja with the problems we have, and you factor in northern Uganda, and you indicate that Uganda is the happiest, Ugandans are the happiest population.
Well, for more perspective on the social and political state of Uganda, I'm joined by Mathias Mpuuga, Member of Parliament representing Masaka Municipality. Mr. Mpuuga, welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you, Vincent.
You're not looking so happy. You're from Kampala.
Well, it's all depends on what one defines as happiness.
Yes. So what's your thought on that report?
I think it's a most ridiculous report. I'm afraid it's very ridiculous, and I think disrespecting of Ugandans who suffer every day because of so many problems, lack of social provision in the country, with a broken down health sector, 80% graduate unemployment. Because in any country, if you're going to understand the level of happiness, then you look for young people. Where do young people that have no jobs or a meaningful daily earning derive their happiness from in Uganda? So I think the UN report was most misplaced. Perhaps they were referring to a different place, not Uganda, where I live every day and sharing the pains of so many Ugandans, unable to find a meal a day, unable to find a job. And with all the problems and denials of our society, I did not see where the comparison was drawn to draw that conclusion that actually Ugandans are happiest.
Yeah. Now, talking about denials, the President Yoweri Museveni, M7 or Sebo, may not agree with you. He considers himself a great leader who has actually brought a certain sense of peace and prosperity to Uganda, and therefore Ugandans should be happy people.
Well, if happiness is about luring over Ugandans with the barrel of the gun, if you go in a place around Kampala, the capital, the streets are patrolled by gun-wielding men every day. If that really brings happiness, then my meaning of happiness is different from what Mr. Museveni actually perhaps knows. But I believe while the first years of his regime were a bit better, the way he's ending his rule, I think, postures in a different direction. And I believe he's aware, as much as I do, that perhaps he actually has wasted or even eroded the little years that he did during his first years in power, close to 30 years in power, with the stolen elections one after another, with corruption unprecedented in our 50 years of independence. I do not know what it talks about.
Yeah, and now talk about eroding his legacy. You yourself has been very instrumental in trying to actually undermine his leadership through the organization of demonstrations on the streets, including a walk to work kind of constant protest. Share with us, how much success have you achieved with that?
Well, to put it right, we're not trying to undermine his legacy or leadership.
That's what he thinks.
We're trying to actually put him right and tell him, you, look here, if you choose to lead, you lead. Killing your people when they ask you for food and they're head of family is not leadership. If children ask for books to go to school and you spank them, that's not leadership. When your family asks for food, you provide the food, you don't beat the children and their mother. So we're telling the president that, look, you are the leader of this country. We have no medicine in our hospitals. Our infrastructure has gone to the dogs. You are actually rolling over us by the gun. Stop stealing elections. Be a Democrat. 30 years in power is enough for you to put in place the requisite infrastructure to grow a democracy.
What is the hope for Ugandans? What is the next strategy?
Well, it depends on where you are. As far as I'm concerned, and as a part of the agenda to change Uganda, we all need to work together to stop Museveni from ruining our country further.
Because he won the elections, though, he believes.
He won the election. On another day, we shall discuss how elections are won in Uganda. He never won any election. He's not won any election. He has stolen all the elections. He has beaten the opposition. As I speak yesterday, he signed a law that prohibits anybody from holding a public gathering without getting permission from the police. Is that democracy? Yesterday.
Well, and we will be talking more about that, I think, because that's very, very critical.
Yes.
Mr. Mpuuga, thank you very much
for
sharing your moment with us. That is Mathias Mpuuga, Member of Parliament, representing Masaka Municipality in Uganda.